Hey everyone, today I'm going to be doing a video talking about the value of the new masks, what people are currently asking for them on the trading servers, specifically the main Fallout Trading Community Discord server. Um, I'll put a link to it in the description if I remember. And yeah, this is primarily on the newer masks. Like the glowing jackalope, glowing Bigfoot, glowing Abe, and glowing Veggie Man. The way that I got the five masks here was through trading. The one I'm wearing actually dropped at Fashnacht, which is pretty fortunate because I see a ton of people saying that they have not even got one glowing mask. So trading is probably going to be your best bet. But if you need to trade, it's going to be expensive. And I'd love to say that's just right now, but it might be quite some time before it drops down to a more reasonable value. Um, Anyways, let me go over the data. First of all, the item used as currency on the trading servers is bobblehead leaders. Um, and if you are planning to farm those in game, it's going to take you quite some time um, because they're it's just not possible to get thousands and thousands of them through traditional farming methods. Really, the best way that I've found was through selling legendary mods that was netting me anywhere from 25 to 100 per legendary mod. I was getting higher than that at first, but the demand for them has dropped off somewhat, especially because of farming methods used on the raid. But with that said, a leader essentially translates on the high end to about 1,000 caps, and probably on the low end to about 250. That could fluctuate. And the way that would translate to caps is, like, for instance, the jackalope was getting offers in the 15,000 range on the first day. I mean, Abe and Veggie Man got 16, but that would be, 15 million caps. On the low end, it would be 3.8 million. And in order to store 3.8 million caps on a character, you would need 94 characters to hold all of those caps, which is why you have things like leaders being used as an exchange. Um, Anyways, so just to show you, the initial value did drop off very significantly within the first 3 days. That's what we saw with the masks last year. Well, I should say what you saw. I didn't start playing until about December of this year. But you could see that it's starting to level off, but I did notice some drops within the last few days. And you're looking probably in the 3.5 range for any of the masks that isn't the jackalope. That's also a new glowing mask. I don't. The old glowing masks are not getting nearly as much. And I could show how the masks did last year. The exchange item last year wasn't leaders, and I guess I should say 8 months ago. This was whenever the last Fashnacht was, and they were using Live and Love 3 instead of leaders. I saw pretty much an equivalent exchange between the two, 1-to-1. And with that said, you could see on this line here, this is the average of what was being offered. First 2 days stayed pretty consistent, then it dropped in half. It kept dropping. There were peaks, and it would go back up, but it started to dwindle down to around the 4,000 range. And really what was keeping it up around that range was the glowing unicorn, which was like the glowing jackalope of last year from what it seems. Looking out into like the end of the month, so after the event was over, it was about 3.4 thousand per. Looking out another month past that, it was still, people were still offering a pretty decent amount. Looking into the last 4 months, it's a much lower return um, for selling the mask, pretty much a tenth of what it was. So long term, the masks don't keep their value. Um, and from what I saw with the data, it is pretty consistent with what happened last year. So the blue line here is going to be the 2025 offers on average per day, and the orange line is going to be the offers per day for 2024, and you can see they're pretty much following the same trend. Higher initial value on the ones this year, but they seem to be dropping the same way that the masks did last year. Just if you want to see that a different way, I can come over here and I'll show you right here. So you can see this purple bar here is the average. On the high end, you have like the veggie and the jackalope. Jackalope retained its value. The other ones pretty much dropped off, especially Abe. But then Abe had a little resurgence here. But this follows a very similar trend to the data from last year. So what I get from all this data is that if you are planning to get masks in order to sell them at a higher value at a later date, that's probably not going to happen. And really holding on to it too long term will result in it losing, most of its value, probably 90% of its value. So with that said, if you're planning to sell, it's probably better to do it sooner rather than later, from what I'm seeing. And yeah, that's really it. I would like to see maybe get some figures. So why it's difficult to get the actual value per day is I can see what people are willing to offer. A lot of times when people will say that they're willing to sell something, they're not going to tell you what they want for it because they want you to make that offer so that you potentially ask for a higher amount than the going rate for the item on that day. So just as a takeaway, if you are planning to exchange leaders, this is the highest point. I'm seeing even the glowing jackalope go for about 5. The other one's about 3,000 is a fairly reasonable offer, and you have a good chance. One big point of emphasis here too is 1 or 2 or even 3 of these will come up every hour on the hour. So don't get too fixated on one. If it goes above what you're willing to exchange, just wait for the next one. It will be back. And at least that's what I've seen. So whatever these numbers are, I would suggest offering probably about like 80% of that, if not lower. If you miss, you miss. There'll be another one. As an example, like when I exchanged for the glowing jackalope, I offered 5K, and that's what I got it for. And that's when it's still fetching offers, much higher than that. That's not because I am a savvy trader or negotiator. I just got lucky, and I was patient. That was really it. So that is what I would advise to you as well, is to be a little bit patient when you're trying to acquire these things. That is all I have. So thank you for watching. If you want to see more videos like this, let me know. I would appreciate a like or even subscribing to the channel. I do plan on putting out some more content for Fallout 76. So thank you for watching.